Scientific theories stand or fall on their ability to predict. What is the major prediction that the IPCC puts out? That sea levels will rise. Of course, says by 20 feet. The IPCC says more moderate 20 inches. But what does the evidence say? There are stations all over the globe that have been measuring sea levels for 100 years. You can find the data on the Tide and Currents website. Here are 4 graphs from different places from around the world. Key West, Florida. Notice the flat line, no hockey stick. This is a rate of 0.74 feet per 100 years. Florida is slightly sinking. Best France is also a nice straight line. The rate there is 0.33 feet per 100 years, which is the global average of 4 inches in 100 years. Bermuda is 0.6 feet per 100 years, a nice straight line again. And finally Sydney, Australia, with its nice straight line, with an average increase of 0.19 feet per 100 years. Thus the evidence is clear. If the IPCC prediction was correct, and all the glaciers are melting, and the temperature has been rising for the past 50 years or more, then why is there not any change in the rate of sea level rise? A 20-inch rise in the next 100 years predicted is 5 times the current increase. If it was going to happen, it should have shown up by now, but it's not there. Prediction refuted. Bear in mind that none of the predictions of the IPCC and others of a doomsday in the future is evidence. It's just predictions, bad ones at that. So what is going on with Kyoto and the IPCC? Why are they doing this? Why are they imposing policy on governments with no supporting evidence? Some claim the far-left environmental extremists, with no home after this USSR collapse, have hijacked global warming to further their agenda to bring down capitalism. It certainly would not surprise me, nor others, if this were true. What about all these scientists the IPCC has backing the report? There are claims that many of these people are not scientists at all. Some of the scientists who were on the list quit because they did not agree with the report's conclusion and had threatened with suit to have their names removed. These same scientists claim that the IPCC report summary was written before their briefs were written and were forced to change their own conclusions to match that of the summary. There is also big money involved. Those who support human causation claim that anyone opposed to them must be funded by big oil. Yet some scientists are saying that the motive of money is actually on the other foot, that there is so much money from governments funding human-caused global warming that were to be shown false would throw a lot of people out of work. So the motive is continued employment in the field, and that is a strong motive. What if human causation for global warming was shown to be false? What are the ramifications? It would be devastating to the integrity of all scientists, politicians, and activists who dogmatically supported human causation. Worse, it would be a huge blow to science itself. The public would find it very hard to listen to science ever again should another major issue come to light. And there is indeed a major society-threatening issue coming real soon. Peak oil. Worldwide production of oil peaked in May of 2005 and has been flat since at 85 million barrels a day. Yet demand is continuing to grow around the world, with China and India the biggest increases at more than 10% a year each. 10% a year means doubling every 7 years, so in 14 years China will be consuming 4 times more oil than it does today. In 7 more years, 21 years from now, 8 times more oil than today. Consuming more oil than production means dipping into reserves. The U.S. has 15 billion barrels of oil in old salt mines. If they were to have to rely on that only for their yearly consumption of 20 million barrels a day, they would use that reserve up in just 2 years. So far we have consumed 944 billion barrels of oil in the last 120 years. Estimates put the remaining producible oil at around 900 billion barrels, enough for another 120 years. We currently consume 32 billion barrels of oil a year. A growth in consumption of about 3% a year will mean we will consume that 900 billion barrels in 20 years. All of it. But of course production cannot continue at 32 billion barrels a year, let alone increase to meet the demand until all the oil is gone. Production follows a bell curve. And once you are past the halfway point in consuming what there is, you start to go into terminal decline. I'll let you look at this graph more closely. We are at the top of worldwide oil production. There is only one way to go from here, and that's down. It is predicted by experts in the field that oil will go into terminal decline in less than 20 years, maybe as few as 5 years. Yes, I know, just more predictions. But oil production and oil consumption is something we do have a good understanding of. The mathematics of oil is right. This makes the threat of peak oil much sooner than the 100-year doom and gloom threat for global warming. We know that since all of modern society is wholly dependent upon oil, that a drop in production will kill society as we know it. There is no guarantee of this with global warming. And if human causation for global warming were shown to be wrong, then the public will just ignore another threat put forth by the scientific community. In fact, it may be too late to fix this problem. So I can hear you all now. Sure, call me names, tell me I'm stupid, that the films are all lies, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead if it makes you feel better. I have learned that people who resort to ad hominem attacks means you have struck a nerve of a deeply held belief, and they have no evidence to support their position, so they resort to these personal attacks. It's human nature that people would rather believe in something that is wrong but comfortable for them than to be forced to believe in something that is factually correct but uncomfortable. I have a personal motto. No one is ahead of their time, just the rest of humanity is slow to catch on. Personally, I don't believe in anything. I let the evidence guide me as to what to accept or reject. And since there is still much evidence against human causation for global warming, I remain a skeptic. Check out these websites. I am in no way affiliated with any of them. Thank you.